With spring training right around the corner, taking some time today to discuss things to watch for with the Chicago Cubs. I am Mitch Widmeyer. This is a product of Northside Baseball. First topic on the agenda, that fifth spot in the starting rotation for Chicago. Four names: Shota Imanaga, Justin Steele, Jameson Taillon, Matthew Boyd. Those four will have the first four spots in the rotation in all likelihood, signed, sealed, delivered. That fifth spot up for grabs. Some of the names to watch for. How about the veteran righty Colin Rea? Comes over from Milwaukee, had a decent 2024 campaign, was asked to do more early on in the season because of injuries that started to pile up with the rotation. His role sort of diminished down the stretch, so much so that Colin Rea was actually left off the playoff roster for Milwaukee's series against the New York Mets. If the Cubs want to go with a conservative, a cautious option, you know what the floor is, you know what the ceiling is. Colin Rea, you know what he is at this point in his career. They could go Colin Rea. Another name under consideration, Javier Assad. Don't know in totality the severity or the significance of the oblique strain. Might miss the series in Tokyo. Probably wasn't slated to start one of those two games. Anyways, could miss the first series come April 2. You just don't know yet with Assad. What is proven with the righty is that he is an innings eater, and a solid one at that for the Cubs. He's another name under consideration. The one name to kind of keep tabs on, especially in spring training, the lanky righty Ben Brown. He's a name I am fascinated with. Could be the Swiss Army knife for the Cubs. Could be a bullpen arm. Could be a starter. Could be a hybrid for the Cubs throughout the season. The stuff is nasty. He has a much higher ceiling than that of Colin Rea and Javier Assad. There's a lot of untapped potential, a lot of unknown, which can create some excitement around a prospect like Ben Brown should he start the season with the big league club. So three names I think under consideration. You could throw Wicks in there as well if you want. Second thing to kind of keep tabs on, new faces. Every team has them. The Cubs certainly no stranger to it. Kyle Tucker was the big offseason acquisition. He's a seamless fit in any lineup. That won't be any different with him landing with the Chicago Cubs. Very interested to see how the defense looks. You have Ian Happ in left field, Pete Crow Armstrong in center, and Tucker in right. Very, very polished, established, athletic outfield defensively for the Chicago Cubs. Another name that came over from Houston, and another one via trade, although separate from the Tucker trade, closer Ryan Pressly. A little bit more angst with this trade for Chicago. Didn't have quite the 2024 season that we had seen in years past, whether it was 2021, 2022, 2023. There was sort of a noticeable decline in Pressly's performance last year, and you have to ask yourselves, like, do we chalk it up to the demotion of going from closer to setup man with the arrival of Josh Hader in Houston last year? And maybe he lost sort of a pep in the step, lost some of that motivation. Down the stretch, the numbers were a little bit better than what the first half showed for Ryan Pressly. You look at some of the statistics, his strikeout per 9 innings number dipped below 10 for the first time since 2017, just a 9.2 K9 rate for Ryan Pressly last year. And then if you look at his walks per 9 number as well, that was the highest that he's had in any season since 2018, that number coming in at 2.9. Regardless of how you slice up the pie, bringing in Ryan Pressly to be your closer to nail things down in the ninth inning is a clear upgrade for the Cubs. It was kind of a mix and match. You saw multiple names after Hector Neris couldn't get the job done on any sort of consistent basis for the Cubs last year. So Pressly is an upgrade, but you have to ask how much gas is really left in that tank given some of the numbers and some of the performances we saw in 2024 from Pressly. And finally, last thing to watch for in spring training, kind of an obvious one. It's one name. It's Matt Shaw. There's a lot of attention going to be paid to Shaw. You have Craig Counsell saying he'll get a lot of reps at third base, and that's where the focus will be. You have Jed Hoyer saying that the Cubs aren't in the world of anointing a rookie and just giving him, and maybe not specifically talking about Shaw, but the question was about Shaw, and he said not anointing a rookie and just giving him the job. However, if Matt Shaw shows out in spring training, not only will he likely be in that opening day lineup for the Cubs, but it could raise what the expectations are for Chicago. If Shaw can come in and really burst onto the scene and pick up where he left off, and I know that's tough for rookies to do compared to it's just not the same playing field being in the minors, whether you're single A, double A, triple A, and then getting the call up. But if he can perform with some solid consistency, I do think it raises the expectation bar for the Cubs compared to if he just kind of has an average year and he's just dipping his toes into the water and it's more of a feel out process. It could put pressure on other guys in that lineup if Shaw continues to be in it every day, but just on sort of an average level. So I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs paid towards Matt Shaw, and rightfully so, and we'll see how things pan out. Those are 3 things to watch for. Spring training right around the corner. Exciting time of the year for the Chicago Cubs and every major league team. I am Mitch Widmeyer. This has been a product of Northside Baseball.